about nothing and everything.
Pop, pop, pop. Popsicle.
Figaro, Figaro, Figaro.
Popsicle, popsicle.
Freddie Mercury here with us today.
I prefer. Yeah, okay.
But
if I could play guitar, I would be Angus Young.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed. I actually watched a video of him one night, and I was like, holy crap, that guy can go.
Was it a reaction video?
Nope.
No, he was at work, though.
No, I wasn't. I was at home. Yeah, I was at home.
Boys, I'm on a computer all day.
Well, I'm back.
Cameron has not died.
Cameron's back.
Yes. Thank you for the moratorium there, boys, or the whatever you call it.
Moratorium.
We built a moratorium.
You should see the shrine here to me. It's great. It's just a candle.
We never gave you an in memoriam. We just built a moratorium and we never said anything.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that.
You can finally get out of that sanitarium.
Wait, that's camping, remember?
We don't need Lars Ulrich chasing us down now.
No. Built you a monument made out of nothing but human hair.
How is the camping community? A commune?
Oh, yeah. Did you go to the commune?
No.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? He was rallying Cameron's comrades.
I almost registered that domain. Cameron'sComrades.ca.
Yeah, then you would have been on a watch list.
Cameron's comrades.
Well, there is a communist party in Fredericton.
There is?
Is there really?
Yeah. Not that I know that.
Are you about to go on some like liberal tirade or something?
Not at all. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Just stating a fact, Jeremy.
It's a national political party.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The one I liked when I was in university, I don't know if they still exist, there was a flying yoga party.
I remember that.
Yoga party.
I do remember that. Yeah, did you pull that closer? You can pull it a bit closer. Like that. Yep, that's good. Good work.
It's like Jeremy's air traffic controller.
So, Cameron, tell us about camping. I want to hear all about it.
You sent me a picture of a nut or something that was stuck or...
How many times did you get mistaken for a juvenile Sasquatch?
None. Well, that I know of.
So to fill folks in, Cameron wasn't here last episode because he was gallivanting through the woods with his trailer.
Yeah.
His new trailer.
Yes, my new trailer, which it has to start with the new trailer story.
Everything's a story.
All it is, it's
There was a skunk in the trailer.
It's an origin story. So we, okay, yeah. So take another step back further. It's got to go back. It's like a prequel. So we had a Honda CRV, and Honda called us and said, we're looking for used vehicles and we're looking to buy yours. We're like, okay, sure. So they gave us a deal which didn't increase our price any, and I went from a CRV to a Honda Pilot, which is bigger and it can haul a trailer. Not a huge trailer, but a little trailer. Because the CRV would only pull like 1,200 pounds, which was hilarious. And this will pull like 3,500 or something like that. So a big increase. So the first time Tyson sees this Honda Pilot, he walks up to me, opens the door and goes, "It's a van."
It's white.
It's a white van.
It's a white van.
What color is the interior?
The interior's gray, not red.
Yeah.
I know, disappointment, I know. So anyway,
Wow.
we get this new vehicle and we start looking for a trailer. So Katie starts going online, my wife. Everybody knows, but in case they don't. So anyway.
Taken, ladies.
She put a ring on it.
After she shaved the finger.
So we look around for a trailer, and we were looking for a trailer by weight, Now, in your head, you think, all right, you see those little pop-up tents. They're not very big. And you're thinking, they have 2 bunks on each side. They're pretty small. They're like 12, well, they might be like 10 feet long when they're all in the box, like all down. So we're like, okay. So we look around. Well, a really good deal came up with one. I'm like, how much does it weigh? She said, well, it's well below the weight. It's something like 1,600 or 1,700 pounds. I was like, well, that's well within our range. I'm okay with that. She goes, okay, cool. And the price was really good. So we're like, okay. And she kind of looked at me kind of funny. I was like, what? She goes, yeah, it's in PEI. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, it's in PEI. He's like, okay, we'll see if he'll take whatever for the price. I don't remember the price. Anyway, she went back to him and he goes, yes, I want it gone. And yes, you can come. So we decide after work at 4:30, we're going to drive to PEI in a brand new vehicle.
Where in PEI?
Cavendish.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Not too bad.
That's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're driving down. We only had the CRV or the pilot for a couple weeks. So as we're driving down, in the back of my head, I'm realizing A, this is a brand new vehicle. B, I've never towed anything in my life. Not once in my life have I ever towed anything. So I was like, well, it's a small trailer. We'll be fine. No big deal. Drive to PEI. We pull into this guy's yard, and here it is set up in his father-in-law's garage. It takes the whole garage up when it's out. I'm like, what is going on here?
You asked how much it weighed, right?
We did. We didn't ask how long it was. So I get there and I look at the guy and I'm looking at Katie and I'm like, that is crazy. That's massive. I said, okay, can I ask a question? The guy goes, sure. I said, how long is it right now? He goes, well, right now with it out, yeah, 28 feet.
Wow.
I'm like,
holy
did
cow.
I said, okay, how long is it when everything is packed away? He goes, 14, 15 feet. I'm like, okay. I've never towed anything ever in any vehicle. And now I have a brand new vehicle. So then we go to hook it up. And we had gone to Honda and gotten a towing package. So they had like the ball joint and everything like that. But they also had the electrics. When I went to pull the pin out, it was a 4-pin.
I was going to say, your pins, they didn't match up.
And the guy had a 10 or 15 pin or 7.
Did he have an adapter though?
No.
No.
So I kind of looked and Katie goes, how does it look? I said, oh, good. I looked all around. I said, great. And then I got to the plug and I picked up the plug and I looked at it. I was like, oh no. And she goes, what? I was like, this is like a 10 pin. Ours is like a 4-pin. Oh, he's in trouble. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, it won't have any brake lights. It'll have nothing. She went, oh, well, the guy goes, well, that's all right. He said, Canadian Tire is like a quarter mile down the road.
Yeah, they'll have an adapter.
They'll have one. So anyway, he says, go down and I'm going to show your husband how to take this thing down. So she's like, okay. So she took off. So the guy's teaching me how to take this thing down. So then I started asking him questions. I was like, it's in really good shape. Doesn't look like it was hardly used. I was like, okay, there's something weird. First thing I stepped in,
Somebody
I was like,
died in there.
well, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And the guy goes, oh, where are you guys from? We told him we're from Miramichi. And he said, I went to school in Fredericton. I was like, well, I lived in Fredericton too. He said, oh, cool. He said, well, I said, why are you selling this if you don't mind me asking? He goes, well, my friends decided they all wanted to go camping. He said, so I got this on the other side of PEI. My friends convinced me to buy it. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. He said, I drove it to Fredericton. He said, and it was just for the weekend. He said, and I am never, ever going to camp again. He said, it was just not my thing. He said, and I'm thinking, okay, you bought this trailer and you used it once and you want rid of it. I was like, oh, so you really don't want it? No, he said, I want it gone now, like gone. He's like, it was not fun. So
this is like mint, really.
Well, it was really, really good shape.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm putting it all apart and he keeps looking at me going, okay, now the next step, I'm like, okay, I don't feel so bad. This guy doesn't have a clue hardly how to take it down. So I don't feel so stupid. So anyway, we got her all packed down. Katie shows up. We hook up the wiring. The brake lights are good. I was like, okay, cool. We get it on the ball, on the hitch. I was like, okay. I start driving and I'm like, I hit the road and I'm like, I see a car coming. I was like, oh, I'll just speed up. Like, you thinking you don't got anything behind you, right? Anyway, pull into the yard and Katie's like, have you ever pulled anything before? I'm like, no. She goes, okay. So then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm going a tad too fast. Okay, so we're slowing down. And this thing, I'm waiting to like I'm waiting. And the roads in PEI are not exactly known.
I'm just picturing that video with the dinky cars on the treadmill that went viral, where the guy pokes it and all over the place. So, boys, I guess it's no big secret that I'm not the only one sitting here that has an affinity for hockey jerseys.
Well, you guys definitely do. I have one, and it's a shame. And I'm looking to kind of,
Well, Cameron, do we have the group for you? Burn down brakes.
Bear down brakes. You need to get yourself to Bear Down Brakes.
Well, I suppose I can do that right now, boys. Let's have a look.
You go join Bear Down Brakes right now. Go see Scott and Adam.
And buy a spot in the roulette, would you?
The roulette?
Yeah.
So they do roulette events. They do razzes. They do different raffles. They do spots for jerseys straight up. They do events where when all the spots fill, you make a donation to the group. When all the spots fill, they roulette it. So what 8 jerseys are up, and there's one of them you're after. And if you happen to win, it's almost like a spin of the roulette wheel, and whatever number pops up, that's the jersey you get. But they're all good jerseys, right, Jay? They're Ovechkin and Crosby and Matthews and McKinnon.
There's McKinnon in there. There's Lindros in there. There's all kinds of great.
There's all kinds of great jerseys. So if that's for you and you're looking into getting into the hobby of collecting jerseys, go check out Bear Down Brakes NB.
So anyway, we started to drive, and I'm like, just before we leave, before I hooked it on, our buddy Dougie calls us. Hey, where are you guys? He goes, well, we're in PEI. Why? Well, there's a hurricane warning here. In Miramichi. And we go, what? We're like, what?
Did you check the weather ahead of time?
No, I did not.
You're like, oh, great. All I have to do is cross the longest bridge in the world.
So anyway, we were like, okay, so we pull out and we're driving toward the bridge, and there's still nothing going on here. There's no rain, there's no clouds. But as we hit the top of the bridge, it looked like something in a World War II movie. In the back, like the distance flashes, and like it was just light. The sky was lit up, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. So we drive and drive. We get just outside of Moncton, and then the thunder and the lightning starts, and then the rain starts. Oh, never pulled a thing in my life. Never used my car.
I know what night you're talking about, because people went into work the next morning. They're like, it woke me up. The thunder was so loud.
Oh, I filmed some of it.
Windy.
I know exactly what night you're talking. We went out on the front porch, and it was just lighting the place up.
I didn't know you were out pulling.
So I'm pulling a trailer for the first time, driving into hurricane, force, rain, weather, lightning. It was quite the experience.
But you got your brake lights, so you got your adapter.
I did have my brake lights. I just kept driving, and it just at one point it was raining so hard I was like, I can't see the person behind me. I can't see anything in front of me. The only reason I could see is because the lightning, when it would light the sky up, I could then see the road.
Now, how fast were you driving?
At this point, at some points, I had it up to 80, and I was pretty impressed with 80. So the lowest point, I was doing 25.
So you just got home last night, is what you're saying?
No, not just last night. But trust me, I white knuckled the whole way home. I was never so glad to see that driveway when I pulled in. I was like, we're just leaving it. What? We're not even unhooking it. We're just leaving it. I'm going in the house. Like, I'm just done. Like, now you got to think, I left at 4:30 to drive over there. And then it took us a couple hours. I don't think we left the island till like 9 o'clock.
Oh my word! So you got home at like midnight?
Oh, and it was black. It was night too when I was driving home in the rain with a trailer. I had never driven before.
Midnight would be if he was driving like normal speed.
It was about midnight. I think I got home a little after midnight, but that was like one of the worst drives. It's like, and the trailer, I thought, okay, I kept looking back at the trailer thinking, okay, it's not moving. I don't feel it swaying because Dad, for some reason, instilled in my brain that when you're driving, he said you should be able to feel it sway a little bit. But it never swayed. It never moved. It stayed where it should. which was great because I said if it was swaying everywhere.
Well, I was going to say, if you're going to tow something for the first time, that's the perfect thing to tow because it's very low center of gravity.
Yes.
Like, what is it, 4 feet high when it's all
yeah, it's
something around like
not
that?
even that, but yeah.
So you're not getting any wind loading or
No.
anything. So it should just kind of follow along.
It did. It followed right
Yeah.
along. But having never pulled anything like that on the road before, I was just
Yeah.
like, wow. That was a long drive home. And then I said, after that, I said to Katie, I said, you know what? She goes, what? Shouldn't have any problems pulling this thing anywhere. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, we did it in the worst conditions possible. At night, in the middle of a hurricane.
You know what? In all seriousness, like that's true. People used to say like when I was on the road all the time, it's like, oh, snowstorm, that must be the worst. And I'd be like, I would take a blinding blizzard over heavy rainfall every day.
Yep.
It's so much
Yeah.
harder on the eyes. You can't see the lines on the road. You can't see signs. Your wipers can't keep up. Like,
People coming towards you will blind you because
Yeah.
the lights fractionating off and all the
That's right.
rain. Yeah.
Because with snow, it doesn't reflect as much as like what rain does.
Nope.
And I find rain, like heavy rain, is the worst thing.
And the
ever.
worst part is in the rain like that, you have the standing water and you're looking at the road and you're like, all right. Then, of course, with the trailer, you're just slightly over and you can feel that trailer starting because it's got
Yeah.
super small tires.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go back the other way. Like,
Yeah.
it was, yeah. So that was just getting it home.
You haven't even gone camping yet.
You are correct.
After that, you were in need of a vacation.
Yeah. You said, like, you know what? That was tough. Let's go camping to relax.
This episode is brought to you by Coleman Canoes, the world's tippiest canoe.
I think that should be their slogan because it's 100% true. So anyway, the next thing we went, it was the first time. Yeah. So we set it up in the yard and that's an experience and a half because the guy had like a couple of minutes to teach me how to do it. And I'm like, okay, how hard can it be to open this trailer up? It can't be that hard. An hour and 20 minutes later, I'm still trying to, I was like, it went down in like 2 minutes,
Well,
5 minutes.
How long ago did this guy go camping with it? Did he say?
He said it was I think it was early that summer or late the summer before. He
So
stored it.
it had been sitting there all closed up for like a year?
Well, I don't know if it was a year or he'd gone earlier. I didn't ask him that, but he said he used it, put it away, and was never going to do it again.
Well,
like
if
the
it
guy
was-
sounds like he was emotionally scared from the whole situation. Like
Something about taking trips to camp in Fredericton, I guess. It really just, things can go sideways.
we'll get back to that one eventually.
That's
Jeremy.
another day.
That's a whole nother
I
episode.
don't even know how to tell that.
Anyway.
Yeah, there's so many things went wrong. But we remembered it. So anyway, eventually me and Katie figured out how to get the tent trailer open and we're like, cool. So then we packed it all back in. I was like, wow, I got it actually all back in. I'm quite impressed by this. So we went to leave, had it all hooked up, ready to go. Woohoo, we're all going home. We go to get something at the grocery store. A lady pulls in behind me. Yeah, you don't have any brake lights.
Uh-oh.
I was like, what? She goes, yeah, like you don't have any signal lights or brake lights. So I checked them, and I had checked them before I left. They were working, and now they are not. So I take it home, and I try the wiring harness and check it to see if there's anything broke. Yada, 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 yada. So I called Dad. I asked him a couple questions. He said, I'll come down. All right. So anyway, Dad and I are looking at it. Dad goes, well, you got nothing. That's really weird. So anyway, we're checking all the connections on the trailer. And he's like, I don't get what's going on here. But what Dad brought with him.
A meter?
No, he bought a battery with him. I'm like, what are you doing with the battery charger? He goes, oh, you'll see. I was like, oh, okay. So Dad hooks it up. And first thing he says, this is Dad's first thing he says. He hooks it up to the trailer. See any smoke? I'm like, no. I was like, why? He goes, well, this would show if you had a problem. Why? Well, you'd see smoke. I'm like, he goes, I think your trailer's fine. I'm like, are you kidding?
Just a test.
Just a test. That's what he said. Just a
It's a
test.
smoke test.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, trust me, you'll know. I'm like, just shaking my head. So anyway, he goes, well, that's really weird. So we had a module put into the Honda that Honda put in.
For the trailer package?
Or the trailer package.
Yeah.
Dad goes, there's something, something's not right. He said, I think it's in your car. was like, what? So anyway, we started digging around, doing some more things. And Dad decided to take my brand new vehicle, started taking it apart in the back. Panels are coming off. I'm having a heart attack. I was like, what are you doing? He goes, well, I got to check the wiring harness. And I mean the back's pieces and fenders. I'm like, oh, what
Do you know
is
how that goes back together?
well, and Dad, well, I know I didn't. And I was hoping he remembered, but and Dad's kind of like, don't worry, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. I'm like, just
Ignore
like,
that package of white powder.
so anyway, we look at it. So Dad starts checking. White car. So anyway, Dad checks the wires, and he's like, I think it's the module. I was like, well, what do you mean? He goes, here, we'll try it on your trailer again. Okay. So I hooked the battery up to it. He goes, signal light on? I'm like, yeah. He goes, brake light on? I'm like, yeah. He goes, it's not your trailer. I said, great. So anyway, we did a couple more troubleshooting. So we did the left side, and then we did before. Well, all of those wires worked, but after the module, they didn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had to call Honda, and we were like, yeah, the module broke. They're like, yeah, well, it was your trailer.
Yeah. Classic, right?
Yeah. I'm like, okay. So anyway, they did replace it because we said, no, it's not the trailer. So anyway, they did replace it. We got another one.
Well, it's as simple as that. They were like, no, it's not the trailer. And they're like, okay, we'll replace it.
Well, and then they said if it happens again, it's on you because then it is your fault. But anyway, as soon as we did that,
First one's always free.
So we lost the weekend. We lost that whole weekend trying to figure it out. We just so then we reset it back up, let it air out, whatever. So then the next trip came. It's like, okay, so we crank it down. On the back, they have a crank, right? And it's hilarious how that crank works. Anyway, it's cranking it all the way down, so it lifts it up and down. So
That
anyway,
doesn't sound that funny.
well, it is in a way. It's easy. It is easy. So anyway, we drive to Fredericton. So we go to Mactaquac, and we get there. It's, of course, after work again. We leave at 4:30. Don't leave till 5. Getting dark. So we get there. We're like, no problem. I had set it up and put it down like 2 or 3 times in the yard. It's like, no problem. Get this done. And my time went from an hour and 25, an hour 30 to we can get it done in 20 minutes, which is not bad. Like,
Oh, man. You should work for Red Bull Pit Crew now.
So anyway, I get there. We back it up, put it in its spot, get the legs down. Great. Let's crank this thing up. Click, 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 click. I was like, it's not going up. It's dark.
Cameron's like, story of my life.
Older. Easy. Older.
You need one of those air pumps.
You ever get ads for them?
No, I don't. What are you looking at? So anyway, I get there and I'm like, all right, Katie's uncle and aunt come over and they're like, what's wrong? I said, well, this is not working. So anyway, we start trying to figure it out. So there's a little plate on the back and the bottom. It's about 2 inches by 2 inches. I was like, okay, we'll take that plate off because I know that's where the gear is. So anyway, I open it up. I start cranking it. Well, the gear's spinning and the chain is spinning. I was like, well, that's really weird because it should be going up. But then I noticed when I cranked it a couple more times, I'm like, that shaft is not moving, but the gear on it is. I'm like, are you kidding me? I reached down and grabbed it, and the whole gear come right off of the spine, like right off. And I was like looking at it, and I slid it back on. I'm like, that's not good. So anyway, when I took the bottom panel off, that little 2x2 piece of metal that was under it, but I didn't take all the bolts off it. I kind of swung it underneath.
Yeah.
Well, then I look, and there's this little metal pin. I'm like, it looks like a cotter pin.
Yeah.
I was like, there is no way. And I reached around the side of it, and sure enough, there was a hole for this little cotter pin. So I take a hammer,
To stop it from slipping.
stop it from to help it turn on the spine
Yeah.
of the shaft. So anyway, I put it back in, and first the crank, boom, it starts to go up. I'm like, it took us like 25 minutes to get that to that point. So I'm like, okay, so we finally got it up, got it all out. I said, great. It's good. We're fine. No problems. That was great. In the middle of the night, something hits the trailer. Just a big bang.
Sasquatch! Yes, I knew this was going to get good.
Did you have the motion camera set up?
He's been listening to the podcast. He's come to prove you're wrong.
No, what I was stupid. And I parked, apparently, in Mactaquac, there are apple trees.
Parked under an apple tree.
The Sasquatch was throwing apples.
So anyway,
And that's when you discovered gravity.
well, yes. So we got
Disappointed to find out he didn't invent it.
what? That's a thing? Anyway, we got through that weekend. It went well. Everything was good. The bed, everything was great. So then we had it set up in the yard to air out because when you come home, you have to set it up again. So we just left it set up in the yard because we're like, eventually we're gonna put it away. So when I went to put it away, I went to crank on it a couple weeks ago. I was like, all right, time to come down. 3, because it has 4 arms, right? On each, like, for the 4 corners of it.
To level it.
Yeah. So 3 of them moved and 1 said no. I'm like, that's weird. I tried to crank it back up and it would come back in. It would go so far and then make a bang. It wouldn't go anywhere. I was like, are you kidding me? Now I can't get it down.
Story of my life.
If you're going to have a problem, buddy, you want it to be that one.
What was next to my medication, dear?
Listen, Neo, you can have the red pill or you can have the blue pill. Anyway, so we did have to get someone to come and actually
Crank
look
your shaft.
No. Help. I got nothing, Gary. You got me.
And then they were like, well, we should leave.
So the best part is we had to call a guy to come and fix our trailer.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, it's now packed away and it's going to stay there till next spring.
When we sell it.
If I was going to sell it, I would have done it by now. So yeah, that was the camper and the new vehicle. Yeah. So that was
Wow.
what my camping was like a little bit.
So at any point did you think like, why don't we just use tents?
Well, we had tents, right? And of course,
But they had trouble pitching it.
the tent was getting wore out. No.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah, we got a little off. Anyway, well, we wanted to, because when you're camping, really, you don't mind tenting. I don't know if you're Tyson, you don't. Tyson's the world's biggest hater of tenting. Not camping or glamping, but tenting, I know Tyson hates like 100%. You agree?
I wouldn't say he's the only one.
He's the most vocal.
Generally, anybody who doesn't enjoy waking up soaking wet in the morning.
I have this weird notion where I like to go to sleep comfortably and wake up comfortably and
And be warm.
have a breakfast without mosquitoes landing on it and
You go on that
silly
bad.
things, really.
It's not that bad. We didn't have mosquitoes when we went.
Yeah, it sounded like everything went great.
Sounded like it
Yeah,
went perfect. You
well-
got it up right away and everything.
Yeah. Now we're just waiting for next year.
So wait a whole year to get it up again, bud.
Oh,
That's your trailer.
wow.
The one time that I went camping, we bought one of those little camping barbecue stove things that has like the Coleman
The little
propane thing that
yeah.
just hooks right on the side there.
Yeah, it's perfect.
If you know how
So-
to use it.
So we went, it was first time using it. So we were down in the States. We went to the grocery store to get some charcoal to put in the barbecue because I thought that seems like a good idea.
Oh.
Propane barbecue, you're going to throw
And I didn't read the charcoal package either. Apparently it had some ignition. Yeah. So the next day I go to light up the barbecue. And it's one of those tiny little things. I have flames shooting 6 feet in the air above it. And this propane tank sitting 6 inches away from that flame.
Gary invents a flamethrower.
So I'm just standing there in front of it looking around and I see a guy down the They own their path that has like the professional setup with the canopies and tents and tables set out to eat
Wow.
at. I was like, you help! So the guy just walks over, casually picks up the lid for the barbecue and just smothers the barbecue.
That was a great idea.
You need the that was easy button. That was easy.
And then we closed it up and went to the drive-thru.
Honestly, though.
As soon as he said it, I was like, I know what he's about to do.
I can't.
His flames start shooting out of it, and Heather, I think Andrew Ecker was there. They just take off, run into the car, and go sit in the car.
Fight or flight! Fight or flight!
And I just standing there staring up at these flames.
Staring up at the
You can see it's like a nuclear mushroom cloud above it.
Well, you basically look like you took 2 barbecues and combined them, basically.
Maybe 10.
How many BTUs is that? A lot.
You packed her full, didn't you?
Oh, it was like charcoal right up to the grill. Fresh from the bag. Never been lit.
As soon as you pull that bag open, you should have smelled the smell should have hit you. This smells like lighter fluid because it is.
I thought you were going to say, I thought, you know what if we put a little bit of gasoline on this too, just to really get her.
A little diesel fuel here.
Oh, why can't there be a video of that?
Right?
Yeah, the guy comes over and fixes it, and I said something stupid like, thanks, first time camping.
He probably turned around and go, yeah, I figured.
Oh, wow.
And he walks back to his store display camping site.
Sitting there, lazy boy.
But he's like, no worries. There was a guy here yesterday didn't even know how to pitch his trailer. He cranked and cranked and cranked, and that thing would not go up.
Now my 7-year-old is at the age where he's like, Daddy, I want to go camping. And this summer I managed to kind of push it off a bit but like, well, okay. So next summer, the adventures begin again.
Now you need to have a video. You need like a body cam on you the whole time.
We should just all go camping and just record the whole thing.
Listen, if we had it last time, we would be millionaires to this day. We could have sold the movie rights.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
That's fantastic.
it was a bad,
Oh,
buddy comedy.
oh, yeah, yes.
Like,
It was bad. Yeah, yeah. Tyson's still scared.
no.
Oh dear.
This is very topical, guys. Waiting until like November, December to start talking about camping.
Well, yes, because
It's on everybody's mind.
it's at the end of the season, right?
That's very us.
Yeah, we're
Right on top of it.
we talk about snow stuff in the summer,
Yeah.
summer in the winter.
Oh.
We're a podcast of the people.
On Bizarro World.
The comrades, if you will.
All right, guys. So
Cameron'sComrades.ca.
up next, we're going to talk about stories of going to the beach.
I have a problem with the beach.
I do too.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
I really can't stand the beach. I'm a
How
complete
is
party
it
pooper.
that you can wear shoes the whole time? Like, I will go to the beach. I will entertain the thought of going to the beach, but I'm just going to sit here because I hate sand. I hate it. And then you walk back out to the car when you're done and you've done nothing. And there's somehow still sand in the crack of your butt. There's sand between your toes. And I didn't do anything. I sat on a chair and didn't, it's somehow everywhere. Everywhere.
I never minded beaches.
3 days later, it's you're showering, you can still feel it in your hair. Like, I don't understand.
See, this is why Tyson is the king of camping.
Yes.
He doesn't like
Yeah.
tents. He doesn't like the beach. Just saying. Anything else?
Yes.
Anything else you don't like about the whole?
Non-believers in Sasquatch.
Well, now we have the trifecta.
Only
Well, that's
reason
why
I would
he-
go camping.
Let's go find Bigfoot.
That's why he
Heck
hates.
yes.
That's why he hates the beach. That's the least likely spot to find a
it's fine.
Sasquatch.
You don't see, we don't
Squatch
see him
at the
like
beach.
suntanning.
Well, you know why?
Why?
That's what I don't understand. That's what I hate about it. Go to the beach. Let's go to a place where it's all sand, no shade, when it's 30 degrees. Let's sit here in the sun.
That's good. It's 30 degrees out. That means it'll be 35, 36 on the beach.
yeah, exactly. It's perfect. I don't understand.
But you see now,
I enjoy the beach. Actually, I could go and lay on the beach all day. But going to the beach with a 3-year-old, on the other hand,
Well, you could put just about anything and say, but then add a 3-year-old, and then it's not fun anymore.
No,
Yep.
too funny. I went to the beach this summer once with the family, and it was an enjoyable day. I will say it was not a bad day.
that's progress.
It's something.
Well, you see when we
Did
always
I go in the water or
No.
anything? No.
You see, when we would go on a trip down south, it was different because Katie really likes the sun and she really likes the heat. I'm a fat, hairy guy. So I do not like the heat.
Oh, Gary, I can hear you making the cuts of that right now. Oh, my gosh.
So anyway, we always go.
Timestamp, please.
Monza.
Zach Brown now has a tattoo of Monza on his arm because of Daniel Ricciardo's win.
Wow, that's dedication.
That is
Did you get one too?
Of course not.
Wouldn't be able to see it anyway.
I don't have time to mow the grass.
Why can't we be sponsored by Manscaped?
I think there you go.
Man, I
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
See a match made in the jungle.
yeah, the woods of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Boys, we've got bush topics.
Ooh-wee.
I didn't look at them. I don't even know what's on there.
See, I wasn't the only one for once.
No, I did it on purpose. I
No,
want to be
we've got some bush
surprised.
topics, and we're going to play the music here.
Here.
Well, which here is he going to go by?
Well, it's the other two. I'll just go between them. Go between them.
Ashley wants to know best sandwich you ever ate.
Now, when you say sandwich.
Yeah, here we go. I knew this
We're
was going
going
to
to get
start.
into the semantics of what makes a sandwich.
Yes,
well,
we
listen
are.
now. Like, you're talking about bread, like a sandwich you make at home. Because, like, you can
Or
go to the
Subway
You
sandwich.
can order a chicken sandwich. You can order a sub sandwich.
Hot hamburger sandwich.
Yeah.
So here's
Hot
mine.
turkey sandwich.
Here- Believe it or not, for me, this is what it is when you say sandwich. My grandmother's homemade bread with a piece of bologna and mustard and ketchup. That is my ultimate sandwich right there.
There you go.
Mustard and ketchup.
Oh,
That's where you lost
Oh,
me.
you're making some fancy sauce.
But the bologna has to be at least 1.5 inches thick. You cut it yourself.
The
It's like
extra
as thick
thick.
as
I
the
know
bread.
exactly what you're putting down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So I put this one in perspective
Okay.
because I love a homemade, like if you ever like a bacon grilled cheese that's just like particularly good, you know what I mean, or something like that. But I also put it in because one of the best sandwiches I ever had on paper shouldn't have been such a good sandwich, but I was so tired. Like when I did that film gig up in northern Newfoundland,
Yeah.
the ladies working at the camp, whatever, made us sandwiches, so you didn't even know what was in it. But you've been going since 7 this morning, and now it's 1 o'clock, and you open your bag and haul out it's just a plain ham and Swiss sandwich.
Mm.
But at the time, I was so hungry, and it was so nice and cold
Could have been made
that
out
it
of
sounded
sawdust.
like might have been the best sandwich I ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And there was nothing even fancy about
Yep.
it. I was
Chariots
just so
of
hungry.
fire music coming out of the bag.
Oh yeah, and it was just like on point. This ham sandwich.
Little queen, we are the champions.
But sometimes it's perspective, right? Like you're so hungry and you're so hot, but the sandwich was still
Yep.
nice and cool, and it was
Yep.
just a nice, yeah.
I think that's for any meal when something like that happens. It's like
Sometimes, yeah.
sometimes when you're so hungry and you've done work all day and you just someone puts something down in front of you and later on you go back and look at it, you're like, that probably wasn't the greatest, but in your head at that moment, that was the greatest piece of food you had ever had in your life.
I used to think that about like when I was a kid, I used to think that about communion. I'd be like, man, this juice is good. But it was such a small amount. You know? You'd be like, man, I just want the juice. So one day I actually suggested, I was like, we should get that juice at home. And so I remember the first time I got like poured a whole glass of it. And I was like, this is way too much. I don't like this juice. You know what I mean? It's like in that context, I really liked it. Maybe because I was a kid. And when you're a kid in church, it feels like it's 500 hours long. And so if you get like, it's like, you know, you're not really thinking of the significance of the symbolism or anything. You're just like, snack.
Oh, man. I got busted. I got busted one Sunday. I think it was me and Brad downstairs,
Doing
Communion
shots?
Sunday. Yeah. So it's grape juice, but it's Communion Sunday. And I can't remember who caught us, but they were so mad. And I remember my mom, anyway, later on, like, don't do that. But I could, you know, like in the back seat, like your parents can't think that you can hear them, but you're totally hearing. Like I told him not to do it, but what's really the big deal? You know what I mean? we went downstairs after playing in the gym at Boom Road, right? And like here's in the kitchen, and the stuff's just left out. So here's all the undrank
Yeah, shot glasses.
communion
basically.
little shot. You know what I mean? And the thing, that's it. Like.
What were they going to do? Pour it back in the bottle?
No, they're but I think it's just the idea of whoever caught us that it's communion, right?
Yeah.
But it's like
not just
less
juice.
than 1/3 still full, like because they fill the whole thing. But
And when
how
you're,
many people
and when
are
you're
at church
younger,
today?
it's like, wow, look, it's something to drink. Cool.
Oh yeah, but we were playing basketball in the gym, and I remember it was like shot.
Shot.
Like all right, we kept on,
Nothing
and someone
quenches the thirst quite like the grape juice.
True.
communion grape juice.
Yeah. Well, that was my realization. I was like, ugh, this is way too much.
So your favorite sandwich was communion grape juice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to. Communion grape juice is my favorite sandwich.
Dip the wafer in the. Oh my gosh!
If you it's hot turkey sandwich, leftover Thanksgiving hot turkey sandwich, best sandwich. I can't think of a better. But again, talk about semantics. See, I like a lot of chicken sandwiches from restaurants, right?
Yeah.
So like that's a whole other discussion. Right?
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean?
yeah, it's a very open-ended question. Like,
Yeah,
it
like-
can be interpreted many ways.
Or a good hot dog.
I mean, is that a sandwich? One side's
It's in-
completely
well,
I
it's
gotta
got
tell
two.
ya.
It's got two pieces.
yeah,
of
but one
each
side is completely closed.
But what if you rip it taking it out of the bag?
No,
Then you throw it in the
You're
garbage
getting
'cause
off at a technicality in that one.
You're a serial killer if you're eating a hot dog with one
Yeah,
side.
there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you, or you
Wait, no.
haven't eaten in days.
Now there's two kinds of buns too. There's the
Soft side bun, and there's the ones with the crust
what
on
do they
one
call
side.
them? New
Yeah.
England, the New
Well,
England style.
Either I'd have
The
to,
only excuse you have for that bun breaking open and you still using it is you just got home from the game show Survivor. You've not eaten in 2 weeks. This is the first decent meal you've had. The bun broke, and then you go, you know what? Screw it.
yeah. Mom used to do that sometimes at home. There, we'd have hot dogs and no hot dog buns.
Use
She'd
bread.
Use bread.
Yeah, I always did.
Well,
You fold the bread in half, wrap it
is-
right around.
I got to tell you, it
That's
does in a pinch, but it's not the same.
it's
No, it's not.
I would go as far as to say it's inhumane. You know,
We used to have chicken.
you hold that thing for 2 seconds and it's a flat piece of paper. The ketchup's completely absorbed. It's like you're holding a hot dog with a thin piece of ketchup paper after like 2 bites.
Growing up, we never had like buns hardly ever sitting around home. So I would, and they were Highliners, and I remember like to this day, it was a beige box with a Highliner chicken burger on it. And I would always I'd microwave them. Now, think how gross now in my head how bad that was. But I would microwave them. I would just grab 2 pieces of bread, slap it between them, throw some ketchup on it, and that's how I always ate my chicken burgers at home. Always.
Man, I used to
don't
eat
get
raw
that.
hot dogs all the time when I was a kid. To the point of, and like then when I got to university, like I never had hot dogs in the house. Like I just never ate them anymore, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But then I remember when I got married to Amanda one day, I walked by the fridge, grabbed a raw wiener, took a bite. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Some kind of animal?
I'm living off the land. Plucking hot dogs right off the hot
Okay.
dog tree.
So with hot dogs, the question is, did you ever put hot dogs on your pizza?
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
You've put hot dogs on my pizza.
I know, but we're the exception to this. Most people I said that to someone at work. They're like, "Oh, what was the best, pizza?" I was like, "Oh, I just threw hot dogs." And they're like,
I wouldn't
Why
call
would-
that the best.
"Why?" They're like, "Why did you throw hot dogs on your?" I said, "Because you didn't have pizza meat?
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah,
It was never pizza meat.
Gary's
What
point
did I think
is,
of
it'll
stick of
do in a
pepperoni
pinch.
It's just seasoned differently.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, like Gary said, I wouldn't say that's the best. You came up with a solution in
In a
this
pinch.
current.
But then it didn't become a
Okay,
pinch.
there's
it
something
just
about
became-
homemade pizza though with hot dogs on it.
Oh, yeah.
Not just hot dogs, but like pepperoni, salami, hot dogs,
Hot dogs.
bacon if you have it. But
It's tomato sauce and hot
They're-
dogs
Yeah, that's what I
you
had.
might have
on an
something
English
there.
muffin.
That's what I used to make them. Just tomato sauce, little cheese, throw the hot dogs, done.
We were going to have hot dogs the other night, and then we realized we were out of bread and buns.
Okay, you can't have
So
them.
then Heather says, well, we have wraps.
What?
And I just gave her this look that I was obviously insulted. And I started carrying the wieners back to the fridge, and she's like, fine.
What are you thinking?
Okay. To keep this theme going, Trina wants to know: is homemade always better?
Yes.
No. I wouldn't say.
It
that.
depends.
I'm just going to sit back and let this unfold.
Okay, what are you talking about?
What are you
Food?
talking about?
Well, I'm talking about bread.
Okay, well tell me. Well, okay.
Well, this doesn't say bread. This just says is homemade always better.
Yeah.
The only
Homemade-
example I can think of it not being better would be French fries.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got me with French fries.
Well, I mean,
That depends.
if you got a good, if,
My mother makes some good homemade.
yeah, if you got a good
French
deep
fries.
fryer,
Yeah.
if you deep fry them,
if you deep fry them right.
Mhm.
Oh, we're just going down a rabbit hole today, boys.
But it takes
I-
a long time.
No, it shouldn't. It should
like poutine,
Okay.
poutine for
It
example,
takes a long
Never-
time if I'm
I've
cutting up the
never
potato.
had poutine
like in general.
ever.
Cameron, what?
Think of who you're
He
talking
won't
to.
eat gravy.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what that would do?
Do you know what the cheese would do to his insides?
it's a great-
Do you
you
not
have-
remember Risk?
You can have gravy.
Cameron
and
had put the
fries.
hospital in the red zone himself.
Fair enough.
Wow.
What was that? Was that an explosion?
Fair point, Cam. No, that's my bad. That's my bad.
But homemade bread. My grandmother made homemade bread. No bread you could buy at the store would ever even remotely come close to it. But maybe that's because I grew up with someone who always made homemade bread.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's what you're going to get into is what was homemade and what wasn't. Now, I feel like poutine is like you have to go to a place that does a good job of poutines to get a good poutine. You can try to make it at home, but it will not be the same.
True. Fast
I've
food.
had decent poutines at home, but it's not the same. And usually you're skipping, like, it's not cheese curds. You had shredded cheese
Exactly.
in the fridge. Or you
Like
had,
it's like
it's not
actual.
the best poutine I ever had in my life is I was in Sydney, Nova Scotia. And it was like this ham poutine was on the menu. And I said, like, Amanda's like, you usually get a burger or a fish. I was like, yeah, but I just cannot let this opportunity slip me by. Like, what is this ham poutine? And it was chunks of ham
ham poutine.
and some bacon bits on top, but it was chunks of ham, but it was ham gravy in cheese curds
Wow.
and was the single best poutine to this day I have ever had in my entire life.
Wow.
And let
there
me
you
guess,
go.
the spot was like this little shack.
Sometime I will go back and it'll never live up to the memory that I've created in my mind.
But was it a little
that's so
shack?
true.
Was this a
No,
smaller
it was
place?
it was like
Big
a
restaurant?
pub eatery. Like you could sit upstairs and there was the water and like
Okay.
it wasn't big or franchise or anything, but it was a
When we were in Cape Breton, there was this, believe it or not, it was funny. We were driving in to go camping. And there we drove by and there was like this bus that was sitting there and it was like, had no wheels. They were just using it as a takeout. And I'm like looking at it and go, oh, that looks interesting. So anyway, but as we were driving by, as we were getting closer, the people were lined up everywhere. I was
Was
like,
it-
what is going on?
Was it Lick a Chick?
No, that's no, it wasn't like a chick. This
Wasn't
was
like a
down in down toward the Battery Park. It was kind of toward the middle.
Oh, okay. You weren't.
Yeah, no, I wasn't up that far, but I have driven by the Lick a Chick. I have.
Yeah.
I've never gone in, but I've driven by it. So anyway, we stopped and we're like, well, it was late. We'll just go get something to eat there. Like the best food ever. But again, we've been driving all day. It might have
sometimes
been-
you put this in perspective, right? You were starving, you were looking for a place to eat,
Yep.
and it's
Yep.
you had really hit the spot.
but like it was, yeah, it was good. And Katie said they had excellent poutine. Katie gets poutine when she goes to get something like that, so she would be the poutine expert.
So listen, homemade always better, yay or nay?
It depends.
90% of the time.
There you go. You look at him being Switzerland.
I wouldn't agree with that ratio, but
Oh,
I would
discuss.
I'm going to go with 80.
80's fair.
Wow.
Well, depend. Yeah. Again, it depends the food we're talking about.
It does in perspective. Like it depends on the meal. Like my wife's a very good cook. I think of like my grandmother's like lemon meringue pie or butterscotch pie. You could go to any bakery from here to
Timbuktu.
no, not happening. Not the same. It's
yeah,
not.
exactly.
Like you have examples in your life
Desserts,
of like
certain
like my
desserts.
mother with sweets and stuff like that and
Yeah.
everything. It's like you
Yeah.
could store buy all you want. You're not going to. It's just not the same, right?
Katie
So
and,
it's all
and cheesecake. It's just like you never have a better cheesecake. And I went to the Cheesecake Factory.
okay. Katie and fudge, Cameron.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Lost 10 pounds, put it all back on by looking at it. Oh, that fudge. All right.
Zebra cakes.
Zebra cake.
I had 2 boxes.
Now,
zebra cakes.
you bring up zebra cakes. Maddox wants to know, if you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza.
Pizza with hot dogs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pizza. Monza.
And Fruit Loops.
You know, the Fruit Loop thing is
Yeah, but
that's
jokes aside about Fruit Loops, Fruit Loops are good, boys. That's a solid cereal.
that is like a staple.
I still don't remember how the Fruit Loops got in the van. I know how they got in the camp. I don't remember how they got in the van.
I don't have a clue how they got in the van. I still to this day never understood that one.
I'm going to have deniability on the Fruit Loops in the van.
Yeah, but not in the camp.
I'd have to go with chicken wings.
Live on chicken
Yeah.
wings.
You know what? I'm going to go with a burger.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it has the bun. And
I love a good burger, though.
good meal.
Just a single patty, but homemade patty. Bacon cheeseburger with actual crispy bacon, not like,
Yeah,
oh
soft.
my land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toasted bun.
I think we're hungry.
Oh, boys. All right. Having a moment there. Okay.
Gary?
Potato.
Wow.
Potato.
Because it's so versatile.
Can do everything with a potato.
True. You could have fries. You could have mashed. You could
Chips.
have,
Actually, that's a
chips.
solid.
Yeah, you could have it with
Yeah,
gravy.
With
I could
bacon and
pick-
cheese on that potato.
Baked potato. You can bake it.
I don't
Yeah.
want to do any work to the thing I have to eat. I just want it to be available. In an edible
You throw
form.
a-
I need variety.
You throw a potato. You throw a potato in the oven and poke holes in it. How hard is that?
Well, you know.
This
Trust
is
me, I'm not doing much prep either.
this is very food themed, but Angela wants to know bacon. Could you live without it?
Of course not.
Cameron so quickly. Oh, pizza. Of course not.
Hook it to my vein.
I think I could live without it.
I don't have it that often.
I could live, but it's really good though, boys.
It is. It's like
I would suffer.
it's like
Yeah.
when we go camping, that's
Yeah.
what you take. When you go camping, you always take eggs and bacon. This
Okay,
is-
I will give you that about camping. Why is camp
Yeah.
bacon always better than
oh,
regular
I don't
bacon?
know. Food's so good when you
That
camp.
makes no
Well,
sense.
yeah, you know why? It's because you've just had a terrible night's sleep every single night. So
Comfort
you're-
food. What are you talking about? You slept in a trailer.
You did.
That was that time, but we've had tents.
We're wrestling with
had
our
a tent.
tents for the second time that night. Oh, there's Jeremy.
What's going on, guys? Like if we were ever going to hit you, that was the night.
I was so proud of myself. I backed into a super tight spot, and the neighbors were out looking at me, and they were like, "Watch this guy. He's gonna clean this other guy." And I got right in there, and I got out and looked at them.
And that's when Jeremy decided I could be a truck driver.
I'm just thinking of my camping inferno, and the one thing that was missing was bacon fat.
That's true. Yeah, you actually might be alive because you didn't have bacon. Yeah, I think I could live without it. Just because you can't gorge on bacon, or else you'll just die. Right
Yeah.
then.
I'm saying I could live without it, but I eat it an awful lot.
I think I could live without it. I probably could.
What is it about bacon? It's such a small package. It goes so fast.
And it's
If I go to a
like,
drive-through and I'm looking at a cheeseburger and there's an option with bacon or without bacon, I'm getting the bacon.
Isn't that true though?
So if you're telling me if living without bacon and I go to the drive-through and there's an option to have bacon on my burger, I'm getting the bacon.
How true is that, though?
I hope you're that annoyed in the drive-thru when they ask you. You're like,
I made a vow. I made a vow, no bacon.
Can you put in the fries? I sure can, sir. Would you like bacon on that today? I do now.
Why are you asking me and it's not done?
It's only an extra $10 to add the bacon onto the...
do it. It's only $10.
Can you pour the fat in the root beer, please?
Can you pour the fat directly onto my pulmonary? Pour it right in there.
Just give me the whole cup. What? Just give me the cup of the.
If I don't hear my heart binding up,
I want to say I could go without it. Reality is no. I'm too weak.
wow. All right. So we've certainly established that we're all terrible eaters. And
I guess so.
we're all gonna, you know.
And on that note, thanks everybody for listening. Hope you tune in again next time. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. We probably should post something to the Instagram, eh? Twitter, all that stuff.
Yep.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll see you in Bar Down Breaks.
Happy camping. So the next day I go to light up the barbecue. And it's one of those tiny little things. I have flames shooting 6 feet in the air above it. And this propane tank sitting 6 inches away from that flame.
Gary invents a flamethrower.
You just wasted some of your life listening to the Bush League podcast. You must stop what you're doing right now. Like and subscribe and leave a 5-star rating. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like us on Facebook.